Welcome to Magical Books for Kids, a podcast sponsored by Magic Everywhere, Inc., a company based in Florida. Hosted by Michael John Sullivan, this is your place to hear the very best children's stories and an opportunity to get to know your favorite authors. Now, here is Michael John Sullivan.
Welcome to Magical Books for Kids. I'm Michael John Sullivan, and thank you for joining us for another edition of this podcast. It is sponsored by Magic Everywhere Incorporated. It's a company based in Kissimmee, Florida. We are happy to have Cheryl Chase with us. She is known throughout the world for being the award-winning voice of Angelica Pickles of the globally popular animated show Rugrats on Nickelodeon. Believe me, Rugrats played a lot while my daughters grew up in the 1990s. So it's a thrill actually to have you here, Cheryl. She's also received countless fan mail from Paris, Texas to Paris, France. Cheryl lives in Los Angeles. She is a rabbit enthusiast and loves kayaking and riding weekends at the Hotel del Coronado. To learn more about Cheryl, please visit her at www.cherylchasebooks.com. We'll also repeat that towards the end of the show. Cheryl, welcome to Magical Books for Kids. And as I said, you were a familiar voice in our home a couple of decades ago. So you gave a lot of joy to our daughters growing up. So thank you very much. I'm glad I can say thank you in person.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Michael, for having me and for wanting to talk about my book and what's coming up with the Rugrats. I really appreciate it, and it's so good and rewarding to hear back these days about how much joy that the cartoon has brought the kids, because now the kids are adults and they're having their own children. And so it's real exciting, and it's very, very, like I say, rewarding.
Well, let's go back to that time when you were actually auditioning. I read up a little bit about your history and some of the
Uh-huh.
things, and I want to make sure it's correct.
Uh-huh.
Originally, it said you auditioned for the role of Tommy
Yes.
Pickles. So what
Mm-hmm.
happened there?
Well, they had me come in, and there was three characters: Tommy and Phil and Lil, and I had to supply voices for that. And it was for a pilot for Nickelodeon, and I did, I gave some voices. I don't remember exactly what they sounded like, but yeah. And I went and I did it. And usually, with auditions, you don't hear back. You just go and you forget them. And so I didn't hear anything, so I assumed I didn't get it, which I didn't. And then 18 months later, I get a call that to go back and audition for another character called Angelica. And when I went in, there was two characters, Angelica and Chucky. They were newly created characters. The pilot did get accepted to be a series. That's why they developed more characters to make the show more rounded out. So yeah, I just read the little write up of Angelica and what she was like, and I thought, what would I sound like as a 3-year-old? So I thought, maybe I can just squish my vocal cords like this, and then Angelica was born. And I did that voice, and the rest is history.
I'm amazed at people like yourself, okay? Because you hear about all the time about voice actors, and I have quite a few Facebook friends as voice actors, and I see their struggles and everything like that. But the talent, okay? People can't see it, but I was watching Cheryl do it and how she squeezed her vocal cords and how she made that voice come. That's pretty amazing to me. It's much like an artist painting something or a writer writing a novel or anything.
Yeah,
There's a
in a way,
certain skill and creativity that's involved in it.
yeah, that is true. And when I started out in my career, I did a lot of baby voices for the movies, like Baby Boom with Diane Keaton, and with Adam's Family Values, I was Baby Pubert. And when you want to do a baby, you have to squish your vocal cords even tighter. So when it goes like this, Angelica sounds like this. But if you want to do a baby, you go. So you have to squeeze them even more tighter. So yeah, there is definitely a skill and an art to it.
Yeah, and when you auditioned for Tommy, obviously it's a boy's voice, but it's a young boy's voice. I mean,
Yes.
how do you get into that mindset of like auditioning for a male, basically a male character?
Well, you know what? I got to be honest. I don't. My vocal cords. I can't do boys. I can't. I don't. I can't sound like a little boy. I'm just strictly a little girl.
Hmm.
Uh, do that. And but there's so many other ladies in town that can do boys really well. So I'll leave that to them.
So there's like a little fraternity that you're in with. Of course, it's much like authors and things like that. You have your little fraternity in Los Angeles that you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a well, actually, these days there's so many ladies and men getting into voiceover, so the competition is quite stiff. And too, they're using more celebrities and name talent like that are on TV shows because that goes well with marketing. So
Right. They're always looking to pick up an immediate audience if there's a
yeah,
particular celebrity involved in it. I mean, that's what we
yeah.
were told when we were actually out there pitching in the last month or so a series that we're doing. But
Oh,
yeah, it's called Dr. Never Me. And you know
oh,
what? So when I heard your voice, I'm thinking, Jesus, like this, you're talented, and it is interesting to hear how you change your normal voice to make it sound like such a young voice. I guess,
oh,
I'm
thank
flawed by that. It's like it's amazing that particular town, because I'm always thinking the people that are actually talking are little kids that are actually
yeah,
doing the
yeah.
voices. You know,
Yeah, you have to for your vocal cords to be able to do something like that, talk really high, is you have to have thin vocal cords. The heavier the vocal cord, the deeper the voice. So that's that where your men or some women have deep voices, so they have thicker vocal cords.
right, right.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So let's talk about, obviously the Rugrats was a favorite in our household growing
Uh-huh.
up with our two daughters. What's what? How did it all come about that there's a reboot now? Because to me, this is pretty exciting. To me, Rugrats was a quality, what I call a quality animation series.
Yes, yeah, it is. And it is global. It's a global franchise. It's known throughout the world. How it came about, I actually don't know because I'm not on that end of the process. I'm in front of the microphone. They're kind of the writers and producers, so I don't know how it kind of maybe it was a joint effort of talking about it because everybody's doing reboots.
Hmm.
So why not
Right,
do a Rugrat reboot?
right, right. And because of all the streaming services that are now out there, content is king.
Yes, they need
Quality,
content,
quality, quality content is
quality content, quality content that has a proven track record.
right, right. And to me, it's encouraging that a show like Rugrats, which was, as I mentioned many times, it was big in our family because we could be okay with it. It wasn't
Yeah,
like something that we would be worried as parents with our young kids. There was a wonderful lesson that was always involved with it,
yeah.
and and I just love the family dynamics that were at play. So
Yeah, the writers they really did a good job at bringing in both the parents and the children. It's kind of like there's jokes for the parents that the kids probably it'll go gloss over, but and then there's jokes for the kids that they understand. And it's kind of like the Warner Brothers, the Bugs Bunny cartoons,
yeah,
because they were made for adults at that time, but the kids they loved it on their level. They were excited, oh, seeing a bunny or a rooster, interacting. And I understand more about Bugs Bunny now as a kid, but you still love them. So that's a good thing about Rugrats. It's the same way the writers write for both audiences.
I
To
I think that's what makes the Pixar movies so great as well, because they're not only writing for kids, but the adults that are there,
Yeah,
it resonates with them,
exactly.
much like the Rugrats did. So there's a reboot coming on. Do you have an idea when we should look for this and where we should look for it?
Well, you look for it on Paramount Plus, the streaming service there, and exactly when it's not been announced yet, but it's going to be in the springtime, somewhere around Memorial Day, but the exact date has not been determined. I mean, it's not been announced,
Right.
but
Okay.
it will be soon.
Right. Because I read up a little bit online, and it looks like everything is all set to go. And as I mentioned, Paramount Plus is one of the new streaming services out there, and they need new content. And what better than taking a show that was wonderful in the past, and to me, it's timeless. It's a timeless series.
Yeah, because it involves the family. I mean, um, Steven Spielberg said back in the 90s, he said that this is an evergreen property, meaning it's like Peanuts. Peanuts is an evergreen property. Kids are being born and growing up and discovering the show for themselves every different age. So,
Right.
yeah, and Rugrats is that way too because they have classic characters with relatable situations that families go through.
Right. Yeah, and believe me, we all went through it, so to
Yeah.
speak. So, is there a particular role in the future that you would love to do? Is there any particular idea that you've had? Because it seems like you've had a, a very successful career.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's one role, it's a coveted role that I would love to get, and that's the voice of Betty Boop.
Okay.
I want to be loved by you. Ow, boop, boop, doo. I'm not warmed up yet, but that's the general
No, I
gist.
know, but it's amazing. I'm like, as I said, it's interesting for me because I'm seeing you across the screen for me, and I can see your voice and your expressions and everything. And there's nothing
Oh,
like it. It's so beautiful just to see the different characters come out. It's, as I said, it's like an artist drawing different characters. So that
yeah,
are,
yeah, that's true. It's definitely an art form.
yeah, you're drawing with your voice.
Yeah, exactly. We're giving life to the drawings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now, is there a role that you had in the past you thought was kind of overlooked, and you felt that, boy, this was a really good role. I did a great job with it. It just hasn't gotten the same recognition as some of your other work.
No, you know what? I no, not really. I mean, there is another role that I did do that I am very proud of because it's called the movie's called My Neighbor Totoro, and there's a little girl called May, and it's a cult classic, and Miyazaki is the director, and it's very popular in the anime uh, world, and when people find out that I'm May, just like Angelica, they go crazy. Oh my gosh, they get all excited. So yeah, that's a role that I really loved playing. But as far as not being recognized, nah, I no, I feel good about everything
Right.
that I've done. Yeah.
Yeah, things are going well. That's the great part. And of course you've written a children's book.
Yes.
Why you're obviously you're an accomplished voice actress. What made you start writing children's picture books?
Well, you know what? I'm a very creatively driven person, and I love being creative. If I can't be creative, it might as well tell me not to breathe. And so I love writing. I always have. And I was telling my mother this was back in 2016. I was staying with my mom. She wasn't feeling too well, so I was helping her take care of some health issues. And I was telling her about this story I had between this little girl and a doll and her doll. And she loved it so much she wanted me to make it into a children's book. And I thought, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. And so I kind of did a lot of research how to write it, and so I how to write a children's book, and so that's what I aspire to. And unfortunately, my mother did pass away, and because she said, do the children's book and dedicate it to me. And when she said that, I kind of felt like a little scared, thinking that, oh no, does this mean she's gonna die? I didn't know what to think, because I had those feelings. And well, she did pass away, and I was devastated, but it made me more determined to do the book, and I did dedicate it to her. So
When did your
that was
mom
my
pass?
inspiration. Yeah.
When did your mom pass away?
In early February, February 4th of 2017. So
Okay. So
yeah.
this
So
is like a goal that you needed to accomplish.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
my tribute to her because she was so supportive through my career and very just always there for me through Rugrats and everything. And so
Right.
this is
She must have been very proud of you.
yeah,
Doing-
I hope she is. I think she
Yeah,
is.
she is definitely.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that was obviously a big inspiration behind you to do this particular book. Do you want to talk about this particular book? It's coming out, in the end of March, I think,
Yeah, March
March 30th.
30th.
Okay.
March 30th. It's called That's Coola Tallulah. And yeah, and it's about, I want the readers to, have fun while reading it and learning about responsibility at the same time. Stella Bella, the little star of the book, she's a fun-loving, playful little, well-behaved little girl that has problems with. She struggles with right and wrong, between right and wrong, and another side of Stella Bella, we see her spunky mischievousness that is played out through her little doll Tallulah. They go on little playful adventures, and Tallulah is the one that inspires all the mischief. So yeah, it's a really fun little book that I hope the kids will like reading.
Is there a particular age group you were shooting for? This is the one thing that I've gone through. I've written novels. I've had,
Oh,
yeah, my first novel was published by Simon and Schuster, and
oh, nice.
yeah, and then I started writing children's books, and
Oh,
you know, to me, the question I always got was, "What's the age limit?" And I always, it was the same thing with the animation thing,
right.
that they
Yeah.
always want to know what is the target group and
Yeah.
everything.
What's the demographic? Yeah.
Right, right, and I always go back to a series. My daughter would always introduce me to not only anime. By the way, you were talking about anime. My daughter's
Yeah.
really big into anime,
Uh-huh.
and she introduced me to the series called Gravity Falls.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yes. I know
And it's
that
a
as a
Disney,
grandmother.
yeah, it's a Disney thing, and I guess the target group was like 5 to 8 or something like that, but there were college kids and kids older than that were watching it and everything, and I
Yeah.
always thought, "Boy, why would you limit the age group?" But I guess they all want it. So this is like a question that I faced all the time with
Yeah.
the children's books. What's the age range? Is it 3 to 5? Is it 4 to 8? Things like that. Was there any
Yeah.
particular target audience you were shooting for, or was it just you just needed to write this story like I did?
Yeah, well, my target audience is 3 to 5. I feel comfortable with that age group and know how to talk to that age group. I used to be a Sunday school teacher, and my for the 3 to 5 year olds, and I would have to deal with them every Sunday,
Mhm.
and I got a feel for their little personalities and how they acted. So I kind of geared my book towards that age group, 3 to 5. But hey, if 4 to 8 want to read it, great.
I always say we're looking for children from 2 to 92.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go. That's how you want to say it.
yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing with animation series. I tell everybody, whoever likes a good story,
Yeah,
so
I think you just have to, as a writer, write what you love, write what makes you feel entertained, and if you're entertained, then the audience will be entertained.
okay, so the book is named That's Coola Tulua. I just want to make
That's
sure.
Coola Tallulah.
Tulua.
Yep.
Right. So is this a rhyming book?
No, it's not a rhyming
Okay.
book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in about how many pages? And I know
Um,
that the illustrations are involved. I
yeah, there's
believe,
beautiful illustrations by Julia Iacopini. I wish I could show some of them. It's 32 pages. No,
okay.
31 pages exactly.
All right, we'll place it up when we post our podcast. We'll post pictures of it and everything like that.
Wonderful. Very good.
Yeah. So is there a particular part of the book that you like the most, would like to read, or just to give the audience a feel of what this particular story sounds like, and what would it
Sure.
be like for their children or grandparents? I know a lot of
Yeah.
grandparents are very interested in stuff in books like this.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I hope they like. Yeah. I could read the part of where the uh where like the height of the shenanigans happens.
Oh,
Uh,
that's fun. Okay.
yeah.
Everybody likes shenanigans for sure.
Everybody likes shenanigans. Okay, it's where Stella Bella is having a tea party, and Tallulah suggests, "Oh, let's have cookies for the guests." And so then let's see. I'll read.
No, who doesn't love cookies though?
I know who doesn't like cookies. Okay, at the tea party, I said to Stella Bella, "Hey, you know what would be fun? Let's serve cookies to our guests." Stella Bella pushed the chair to the counter and climbed up. She stretched the stretchiest stretch anyone ever stretched. Uh-oh, said Stella Bella. "Oh no," I thought. "Oh my," Stella Bella's mommy said, climbing up to get cookies. "No, Stella Bella, ask mommy first. Let's give you a break. Stella Bella and I are best friends. When she gets a break, I get a break. So I got a break." Stella Bella's mommy put me back on the toy shelf. "Did I do something wrong?" I asked. "Yes, you did do something wrong," Ricky Robot said. "You told Stella Bella to get cookies and she broke the cookie jar," Binky Bunny said. "That was not a great idea, Tallulah," Timmy Tugboat tooted. "Gee, I only wanted to have fun. Now I felt sad. I love Stella Bella with all my heart. I didn't mean to do wrong." "Tallulah," Stella Bella called out. "Oh, Stella Bella, I don't want to be apart from you ever again," I cried. "I don't want to be apart from you either, Tallulah. You're my favorite lovey. Let's go play on the swings," Stella Bella said. "Great idea, and I know the swingiest swings," Tallulah said. "That's Coola, Tallulah," said Stella Bella, "and I've got another great idea too." And so then you turn the page and you find out what happens at the end.
Okay, so we're not going to tell the
Yes,
audience; they're going to have to buy the book.
exactly.
And I know this is this a book that they can find on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, places like that.
Yeah, on Amazon, and if they go to my website, CherylChaseBooks.com, and they click on it, it'll take you right to buy the book. It'll take you to Amazon. So, yeah.
Are there other books in the future that you'd like to tackle? Uh,
Oh, yeah, I have another book that's being illustrated right now. It's the second book in the Tallulah Times book series. It's called The Perfect Princess Party. That'll be coming out the end of this year.
Okay, great. So you're it sounds like you're being prolific and you're taking advantage of some of the time that you have and
Oh,
putting
yes,
it to good use. Be-
exactly. You
Because
got to
you're gonna be busy soon, I would assume, with the reboot.
Yeah, because I'm promoting the book right now, which is a lot of interviews. And this is my first interview, by the way. So thank you.
I'm honored, and I had somebody. I'm interviewing somebody whose voice was quite prevalent in our household for
Oh,
quite many mornings and afternoons and evenings and of course the movies. You know, the movies that we went to with
oh, yeah, they were
daughters.
great, those Rugrat movies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Do you ever realize that? And I'm sure you're probably realizing it now as you go along, but you probably you mentioned fan mail that you get. Do you ever
yeah,
realize that the impact that you've had with particular families and everything throughout the years? And as you said, the kids that grew up on this, they're having their own kids now, and they're probably going to introduce them to that, Angelica Pickles' voice again.
yeah, they are. I mean, I'm really, because back when the Rugrats was on and I was doing the show, I mean, like the older kids, it wasn't, they would watch the show, but they wouldn't really tell their friends they were watching the show. And they,
Yes,
you
right.
know,
Mhm.
and so, but now they're grown up and it's a whole different, now I'm really feeling how, wow, what an impact this has made. And I love it.
Right. And I think as you go along and you do the reboot and you're going to see how it picks up again.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it seems like, as you mentioned, they're doing a lot of reboots. And I'm glad this in particular is being done because
Yeah.
it does serve a purpose, especially with families and everything. And the way things are today, with the pandemic and moms being
Right.
home and having to homeschool, other
Yes.
things. So, I mean, how did yourself deal with the particular past year?
Well, actually, I stayed home. Well, I'm staying home a lot. I don't go
Mhm.
out, obviously, but I have a recording studio in my house, so we would record the Rugrats. I have in a little closet in one of my bedrooms, so that's where I've been doing the Rugrats, and I've been working on That's Coola Tallulah.
That's
and
wonderful.
my other books. So yeah, that I kept myself busy.
Yeah, you took advantage of the time. I was much like that too. I said, okay, I can either sit here and go into a fetal position, you
Exactly, right.
and
Or
feel
do something.
sorry, or do something about it. And so then I wrote my next novel. It's like
Oh,
so that you do
see,
stuff like that. You make yourself busy. You
yeah,
mentioned the recording studio, and you
yeah.
mentioned closet. So your recording studio is actually in a closet, right? That's
Yes, yes. So that no sound come in, and I have packing blankets lining the walls, and I close the door, and it's really soundproof. It's really good.
that's fabulous. Because I always
Yeah.
wondered how people recorded themselves and everything, and I read a little bit on it because of the podcast thing, and they mentioned, well, in a closet, it's not bad because it keeps the sound in and
Yeah.
it doesn't echo and everything.
Yeah.
Then you got to learn all about microphones and headphones and all that. So you're probably a lot
Oh
of work.
no, it's kind of difficult, but see, I'm kind of blessed in a way where when you do the Rugrats, like Nickelodeon, the recording engineer would just plug into my computer, and then he would man the controls, and all I would do is do the voice.
Okay, so we have to look for Rugrats on Paramount Plus, which is their new streaming service. And we also have to look for your books at www.cherylchasebooks.com. And I'm going to spell it CHERYLCHASE books.com. Because a lot of times my thick New York accent kind of confuses people. I've been told that, especially by my friends on the West Coast out there. They always tell me that. It's hard to understand, So, and the book is called That's Coola, Tallulah, right?
No, that's Kula
Coola,
Tallulah.
okay. That's Coola, Tallulah. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. So I'm going to have to make sure that I say that about 10 times fast so I get it done. So I am not a voice person like you. You are
Oh,
quite
you'll get
talented
it.
and everything. So okay. So we'd have to have you on, of course, when it actually takes place, when the actual Rugrats return. We'd love to
Oh,
have you back
sure.
on, and we
Absolutely.
wish you much success for your book as
Oh, thank you,
well.
Mike.
Continue writing because there's a need for quality content out there, and
Yeah, there is, and I hopefully mine will be a nice contributing factor.
I believe it will. You're already a contributing factor with the voice for
Yeah.
sure and the
Oh,
character.
thank
So,
you.
so thank you so much, Cheryl Chase, for joining us. She is, of course, known throughout the world for having one of the most famous voices, Angelica Pickles of the Rugrats, which will return on Paramount Plus. So thank you so much for joining us on Magical Books for Kids.
Thank you for listening to Magical Books for Kids, a podcast sponsored by Magic Everywhere Inc., a company based in Florida, hosted by Michael John Sullivan. This is your place to hear the very best children's stories and an opportunity to get to know your favorite authors. Join us for another fun storytelling podcast next week.